Hey everyone, welcome to Growing Up Chestnut. Anyway, I'm hearing an echo. There's two of me going on, which is pretty cool. But anyway, Michael is gone. He won't be with us. Jane, what is everybody doing?
We were fixing the volume on the other screen.
This is Michael is gone on a cruise, and so I am it. And so we thought it would be interesting to do an episode with Jamie where we talk about her diseased lamb. She gets all the time, she gets people calling her or texting her or sending her messages and asking her questions about the disease. And she doesn't look like her insides is what the doctors always say. So she looks like she's okay. She's normal.
That's good thing.
And she doesn't like to dwell on it. And she likes to just live her life.
Inside and out.
She's not beautiful. I think we're live. I'm not.
We are.
Okay. We got our family around us. Nobody wants to be on. All these little comedians around us. But anyway, so
Sophie said I do.
and we already have had a Missy asking us if she missed it. So, but no, we're running behind. So anyway, we're going to start with Jamie, and we're going to talk. She has a disease called LAM, LAM, but it's really called
lymphangioliomyomatosis.
She'll say that 3 times real fast.
Spell
And
it.
so I'm going to let her tell you what that means and what her disease is.
It's a rare cystic lung disease. It's considered an interstitial lung disease. It hits only women. I guess it's very rare for a man to get it. And if a man gets it, he has to have tuberous sclerosis syndrome, something like that,
Which is
a genetic disorder that you get these benign tumors all over. Hey, Missy, how are you? I was tested for tuberous sclerosis, so I don't have that. I have what's called sporadic LAM, and that is when you don't have tuberous sclerosis, so it's something just random.
and it's not genetic. So
Yes.
And if it was, then the women in our family,
Yeah, if I had tested positive for that, then all the women in my family would have had to have been tested for that as well, which
thank the Lord.
at that time, my niece Rory was like, if they're so worried about Nini's jeans, why doesn't she just stop wearing those jeans?
And she was serious. That's the wonder of Rory. Yeah.
But basically, LAM it hits women in their, around 35 usually.
Around your childbearing years.
Yes. And I found out I started having my first symptoms when I had my miscarriage. And it's basically smooth muscle cells that are like, they're called LAM cells, but they're like cancer cells, and they metastasize like cancer. And they spread in your lungs and basically eat up all the healthy lung tissue. So my lungs are filling up with all these, and it's replacing them with cysts and holes in my lungs. And eventually I will have to have a lung transplant, a double lung transplant.
She also has some of the cysts on her kidney and also in
my brain.
In her brain. And one is actually on the stem of it. So, but these are some of the questions that we're getting at. How serious is your decline?
We don't know. I don't really know how serious the decline is yet. I'm scheduled to go to the Mayo Clinic on the 26th for a whole day of testing. And then that's supposed to determine how much decline there is. And then the 27th, I'll meet with the LAM doctor.
Yeah. And so, which she is in the stage of her decline where she can,
I have gone into the next stage, which is called advanced. And that means that I will have more complications around this time now.
And another question you get asked a lot, are you on the transplant list? Because they all know that you're.
So while I know I will eventually need a double transplant, I am not on the transplant list because you cannot be put on the transplant list until you are in the end stages of the disease, which I know everybody freaks out about. Like, I can't believe that, but that is how it works. So you have to be dying to be put on that list.
And they give you a mentor, someone that has the disease like you and has had a lung transplant, to go through with you and to, mentor you. And so, which is good. And they're so knowledgeable because they've had it for a while. So anyway,
that's from the Lamb Foundation.
Right. Now, another question is, does a transplant cure you?
No. So while the transplant will help and it will gives me more time, it will not cure me. And I could still have the disease spread, and then I could eventually need another lung transplant.
Yes. So how do you know to check your oxygen besides your dog telling you?
Well, yeah, my dog sometimes. And I mean, if I feel very short of breath, I'll check it, which sometimes it's fine. But I just mostly check it randomly throughout the day, no matter what, because I've learned sometimes even if I feel fine, I'll put it on and I'm like, whoo, it's really low. So, but I'm short of breath all the time, so it's hard for me to gauge sometimes. So I just kind of make it a habit of maybe every 30 minutes I check.
But also, she sings, she helps at church and she sings and stuff, and that helps her lungs.
It's good exercise.
Good exercise for her lungs. So sometimes people are like, how is she doing that? And because it's good for her, and she likes to sing. But so is lamb only in your lungs? And that I kind of we just said that.
Well,
basically.
Lamb can affect the lungs, the kidneys, and the lymphatic system. And I have
the lymphatic system. That's interesting. What is a lymphatic system? Do you know?
I mean, it's your lymphatic system. You know what a lymphatic system is, right?
I don't know.
I don't have
lymph nodes. I don't know.
No, it's like I know, like I don't know if it's called chyle buildup in your lungs. Like it's like a milky kind of fluid that can build up in your lungs. It can also build up in your abdomen and start leaking out. I know a lot of the women who have lamb have that issue. I don't have lymphatic involvement, so I have lung and kidney involvement. And then I also have what's called angiolipoma, something like that, which are benign tumors. I've got one on my kidney, and I've got two in my brain. One is on the stem of my brain, and then I've got another one in there somewhere, just floating around.
They just have to monitor them.
Monitor them and make sure they don't grow. So I have an MRI coming up very, very soon to monitor those.
And one of the questions is, can you fly? And we learned that. You learned that real quickly.
So, yeah, I can fly. However,
it hurts.
When I flew at Christmas time to my sister's house to be with my family, and I discovered that I was in a lot of pain the whole flight, and I really struggled. Like I had a hard time the whole entire flight. So it made me really sick. And then afterwards, I had a whole day where I was just throwing up and everything. So other people I know have had no issue doing it, but for me, it's just kind of I can't fly, which makes me sad.
She can fly off the handle, but she can't.
And I do that very well
because
lamb is also hormonal.
It feeds the disease, so it's like
it's hormonal. And let me tell you, I am good at hormones, at expressing them.
Yeah, Jamie's very I mean, she can't hide it.
I'm good at getting irritated lately, that's for sure.
So let's talk about how
you shake your head at me.
We got a little my grandson's over there. Grandson over there going. But anyway, let's talk about how rare. Did we talk about how rare this is?
No.
Did we say that at the beginning?
It's
extremely rare.
So it's considered extremely rare.
It's rare.
I think it says 3 to 5 out of every 1 million women get lamb.
Yeah. And yours is different.
Mine is very rare for lamb. So I am rare.
How many are there?
Even more rare because my lamb presents itself. While some women have, cow buildup, and they have some women who have, and I've had lung collapses, but not like mine have mostly been. I've only had one major collapse and 9 like partial collapses. So I've only had one chest tube and that was enough to never want to have one of those again. They are so painful. But for me, what mine does, which is extremely rare, is that my lungs hemorrhage. So they fill up with blood. And that is extremely rare for lamb. They do not know why I do that. And there's only one other woman that I know who does that, and she lives in Australia.
And hers is different.
And hers is a little different than mine. It's not necessarily quite like
and the honeycomb
mine. I also have honeycombing, which is basically like a cluster of stacked cystic air sacs. They're kind of like,
that's your dog barking.
Yeah, and my nephew's sleeping in there. But it kind of feels like fill the air spaces that predominantly are at the base of the lungs. So it's a very bad thing apparently, because I remember when they checked my CT scan, and then they were like, "Oh my gosh, there's honeycombing," and I was like, "Is that bad?"
Yeah, I remember that.
They're like, "Yeah, that's very bad." So that's not also as common with lamb. It happens, but it's not as common. It's mostly common with fibrosis, fibrosis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are like? Her symptoms started right after she had her miscarriage, and she was.
Well, I thought I was having, because I had been diagnosed with asthma.
So she was coughing.
I was coughing a lot, especially when I was laying down. Like I couldn't stop coughing, and it was like I would cough to the point of it'll make me throw up. And so I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. So I was like, I need to go to the doctor because
you started coughing up blood.
Because I started coughing. Yeah, I started coughing up blood and everything. So I don't know what to do, and so. She's like, I think it's your asthma is not controlled, but since I had a history of blood clots in my lungs, I had 2 blood clots in each lung when I was 20. And she says, so since you have that history of blood clots in your lungs, we'll just go ahead and do a CT scan. And so they did the CT scan, and that's when they discovered that I had all these cysts in my lungs, and that also I needed a blood transfusion. And at that point, they basically told me that I didn't have asthma anymore. They thought I had Wagner's disease, which was also very bad to have. I had kind of done what you're not supposed to do and Googled all your symptoms. And I was like freaking out. And I told Mom, look at this thing called Lamb disease. I said, this is what I have. I bet you this is what I have. Mom's like, come on, Jamie, like you don't have that. That's like, would be the worst case scenario. So, but that's what I ended up having.
But God knows what He knows. I mean, we don't know. We don't understand. But she is not healthy, but I
don't look like I'm not
functions healthy. And she likes to go out and do stuff. And I think that what throws people off. But a lot of times when we go out, she does have to wear her oxygen and everything. But we have surrounded by, because Wes and Leela have moved down here. Yes. And so that means grandkids. So I have the grandkids, and there's puppy dogs. And so you're hearing all of that. We're surrounded here by everybody. But anyway, we just thought Mike's gone, and we were just talking, Wes and I, and talked about, hey, why don't we just talk about Jamie's disease? Because she's always getting questions. And nobody understands. I don't really understand it either. She knows a lot of it. I go with her. It's been a journey. It started out with just kind of,
well, I got kidney stones.
Yeah. And no, before that we tried to, and they just were like, no.
Oh yeah. They told me my problem was GERD.
Yes. She's GERD.
He said I had GERD and had me have an upper endoscopy, and they said I had little to no GERD. And he said, well, that doesn't mean anything.
So of course they did all these testing and everything. And
he said I had GERD, and it was so bad that it was spilling into my lungs and burning my lungs, and that's what was causing all the problems.
Yeah.
But that
so they did a lot of testing, and there was like, now the hospitalists and all them knew that it was bad, but nobody. He was the pulmonologist, so that was what it was going to be. So, but through this journey, she gets kidney stones, which I think is it from the disease?
Well, we're finding out that it's probably related to the disease because I get them all the time now.
And So
they hurt.
it was late at night, and I kept trying to get her to let me take her. And so we went to the emergency room. She says, when we get there, we're not going to talk about my
lungs.
We're not going to talk about me coughing up blood. We're not going to talk about any of that. I said, okay.
Because I had it.
Yeah. She's like, nobody cares what I got.
Figure it out.
Yeah, nobody's figuring it out.
Just, like, whatever.
Just guessing and silly stuff, that was going on. So we went in, and we knew probably that she had kidney stones. And so they come in, and they're all saying, do you think maybe you have kidney stones? Like, yeah. Well, through all of this, they go and do tests.
And I did have kidney stones.
Yes, she did. And they started seeing.
No, I got up to go to the bathroom.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And when I got up to go to the bathroom, and I came back, and they hooked me back up to all the machines.
Where are you?
My oxygen dropped into the 60s. And she couldn't get it back up. And she was like, I don't understand how you're conscious right now, because she said, at this point, you should not be conscious. So, and that's when they put me on the high flow oxygen. Yeah. I was on 15 liters of high flow oxygen for almost 24 hours.
She's in pain with her kidney stones, and they've just forgot the kidney stones.
Yes.
And
they're like, oh.
And then,
and it would not go up. That was the worst it's ever been.
That was the worst day.
It would not.
And then the hospitalist came in, and he said, I'm looking at your CT scans, and I'm looking and I'm reading about them. And so they decided, because they were a little freaked out.
Well, they couldn't let me go home with my oxygen that. So they admitted me.
They admitted her. And then in that process, they called the pulmonologist that was on call, and she was a PA, and she was like, I'm going to call Dr. Diaz.
Dr.
That's
Diaz.
That's the one of the main doctors. And I think, did he do lung transplants? He used to, or something.
He's a transplant doctor.
From UAB, and he had moved over here. And so anyway, he came in and he's like,
he was livid that I had not been referred to him before, because he is a rare disease specialist.
Yeah, he's like, why are we here? Why are we doing this? And so she did have where they washed out her lung. What is that called now? I can't think of it. Bronchoscopic.
And he decided to do another one.
So he was going to do another one, but he came out and he said, he goes, I couldn't do it. He said, her lungs are so filled with blood. I can't, there's no way.
And I stopped breathing during the procedure.
Yeah, so she stopped breathing. So anyway,
and that's when they said it was serious.
And I know
all the blood.
It sounds bad, but it was God, because that's where we got where he got her a authorization to Shands, because you can't go with her insurance. You couldn't go anywhere, and you have to get somebody to agree to do a biopsy. And authorization. What is so
Who
funny?
is your favorite grandchild from Ian?
I can't say, because I'm on air.
That's a loaded question.
Hello, Jamie and Bill's wife.
Yes, and she is standing up.
And I am standing. No, I don't have a booster chair, Mike. But anyway, so God allowed a lot of that to happen, I feel, because we were not going to talk about it. And sometimes I think when you give things to God and let him just handle it, he handles it. And so we were able to go to
It
Shands.
got scary from there, though, because then they wouldn't let me move.
The best fun was they told us that I went home and got ready and I slept, because they said at 9:00 tomorrow they're gonna take her by ambulance to
6
Shands.
hours away.
And so we were going to follow the ambulance.
Let me tell you, that was
What
not
was it? It was
comfortable.
Midnight? What time?
They came at
Early.
it was 5 a.m. They came and got me, and I was like, oh, I wasn't prepared to go yet. And
And she woke me up and said, Mom, I'm on my way. I'm like, what? And so we're trying to get ready. So
the best part is halfway there, I'm in a hospital gown, strapped to a hospital bed.
Gurney.
The ambulance stops at a gas station, and they say, do you want to get out and go to the bathroom? Yeah, I think I'll wait.
It's a 6-hour trip.
I think I'll wait. I don't think so. Hospital gown. I don't think so.
But anyway, so she had that ride. So Bill and I jumped in the car, and we were like, I can't help
And Papa.
Let
me just tell you about that ride home.
Yeah.
Papa drove me home, and that was the worst experience of
He
my
almost
life.
killed us. I can't remember.
I was
how
in
many times.
so much pain.
But you know, he's going to see this. He watches every episode.
Well, it's true.
But anyway. So anyway, we get there. I think we were like 2 or 3 hours later.
You guys were later. Dad was there when I
he
got
was
there.
And she was
Which
put
was-
in a room because and the
Nobody
doctor hadn't seen her yet.
Nobody could move. There was an alarm on my bed. It was in like the special unit where
Yeah, it was
everybody is
sad.
critical.
It was really sad.
And all these people were
They were-
extremely critical. And I guess I was too,
All
but I'm
ages.
like sitting there like,
She's sitting
"Can I go
Indian
to the
style on her bed.
bathroom?" And they're like, "You're the only person in this ward who can actually walk to the bathroom themselves."
So when the doctor came in and saw you, he's
He
like,
couldn't believe that I was conscious, and
he said, "You're."
he said, "Your insides don't match your outsides."
And so we say that we get that a lot. So and she just recently was in the hospital. This is how we found out she's declined because
I
was
thought
it
I had
Cletus?
pneumonia. I thought I had
That's right,
pneumonia, which I was
which
right.
she did.
I had 2 different kinds of pneumonia.
And so they put her in ICU, and it was they were all like nervous, and we're just used to. I'm
used to it.
Sometimes I forget she has a disease. I'm like, I'll say, hey,
Regular doctors kind of freak out every time because when I had my hysterectomy, the anesthesiologist was like,
Nope.
He was like, "Do you know how bad that disease is? That's dangerous." I'm like, "Yeah, tell me about it. I'm the one that's got it."
So the her gallbladder, the same thing. The doctor
Don't
never
Google it.
Yes, don't Google it. And the surgeon for the gallbladder, he said, nope. He said, unless she really has to have it for a lung transplant. Nope. I'm like, what's that got to do?
Yeah, at that point, I was having to go to Shands for every surgery I had to have.
Yes.
And finally, I was like, no, I'm going to have a surgery here. And then I just made up my mind from now on. Yeah, I'm not going to have any more surgeries here because they freak out. Like it took me, how many times did they cancel my hysterectomy while I was waiting to be taken back?
She was already prepped.
I was already prepped to go back and they kept canceling it because they would
and
freak
that was
out.
during COVID, and I was sitting out in the car waiting.
Awful.
And then she called me. She said, I'm still here. I'm like, what? And then they had to take her back home. So, yeah. And then
so
we
from
just
now on, I'll just go to Mayo or something.
Yeah. So now we're at Mayo, and
I like it a lot better.
That's pretty cool. Shands is a well-oiled machine too, but so Mayo is to me awesome. And so we're going down that road and that journey, and so we're gonna see where he wants to know how far she's declined. And
I've been trying to get into Mayo for over a year. And so it was kind of worked out that way. I mean, not that I wanted to go in the hospital to have to do it, but when I was put in the hospital, they had me an appointment there within like that week. So that worked out really well for me.
oh, I'm just reading. I'm reading them. People are writing. So anyway, so we were just wanting to share that with you, that and you know how we are so professional at this. Yeah, but God's been good. Just continue to pray for her.
Yeah. I mean,
And
some of the
all of us
common things that people ask me before we get off, because people always ask me, I know I look fine all the time, but I'm always in pain. Mm-hmm. And so this is me in a lot of pain. But I'm used to it. So I manage through it. So, but this is not a bad day. And I have bad days. There are days that I can barely get out of bed. So I do have those days, I've declined, so I don't know how bad it is. But I was told the word significant, so I'm not sure yet. I've done okay with my lamb journey so far, but I will say this time it kind of hit me a little harder because, it's scary to reach that stage where you have more complications. And I will say the majority of women with lamb pass away from complications. So that's a scary stage to be in.
Well, also she's been on sirolimus. It's a transplant kind of.
It's an anti-rejection medication for kidney transplant,
and that's been keeping her stable, and that's why she's not been able to go so long. But And I feel, and they do too, that part of her decline is because she's off of that
I'm
medication.
off of the medication
Because of
insurance,
and it's $1,000 or more. So,
who was your favorite child from Ian? Well, you can say this one because obviously it was me. I mean, obviously.
Anyway, I didn't even like my children.
It's really true. I know this kind of goes in because I was telling Ian about how Brooke was the defiant one and how I said Gigi was like, come here. And she was like, I don't think so. I said, could you imagine saying that to Gigi? And he was like, yeah. I said, well, you can, but we couldn't.
They can do whatever they want. Almost everything they want. Well, everything they want. Except that they're kind of out of the will today because when I came in,
nobody gave you a hug.
Nobody gave me a hug and ran up.
Ian finally did.
Ian finally did when I said, well, you're not in the will anymore. I think he thinks I have something.
I think he thinks you have something to leave in a will.
No, I don't. But anyway,
Rooney,
the dog, yeah. Bill. Oh. But anyway,
you guys get Bill when she's gone.
But we thought we would tell you about what's going on with her. She does have a lot of questions. If you have any questions from that, she can, you can email her or send her a message.
I'm very open about it. I'm not one that's like, oh, I don't like to talk about it, or like, it is what it is, and it's part of my life now. And so I've just learned I've learned a lot about it because the doctors are always impressed at how much I know. But
they're impressed you can say it.
I have no problem telling you anything you want to know, or if you're asking how I'm feeling, I have no problem being like, oh, I'm having a bad day, or I'm doing all right. I don't normally like to show how I feel. I'll tell you how I feel, but I'm not going to show
people
it
that
to
are
you.
not family.
Yes. Yeah, I'll show them how I feel.
Her family, us. We know.
Move out of the way, you got to throw up.
No, that's not very nice.
That's true, though.
That I don't have a problem with. I move out of the way. But anyway, anything else that you can think of? We have dog barking, phones ringing. I love it. I have my family around me. That's why we keep giggling, because there's all kinds of shenanigans going around. The
only other thing
Ian,
that I've been asked a lot about is lamb cancer, and they're trying to get it classified, I guess, as a cancer. I guess a lot of them say it's like what they're saying now. It's like a low level cancer, only in the fact that it spreads slowly. So that basically what we're going right now. Right now they've been trying to get it classified as a cancer because it's similar. It metastasizes like cancer, but it spreads a lot slower.
Is it slower?
It's slower.
They make fun of me, so I'm just when I say words over like podcast, they make fun of me.
She said podcast a lot in that last podcast. Like we were like
a lot. But anyway, so that's my problem, not yours. But the thing is, the more they make fun of me, they are becoming me, and that's my heart good. When the kids do stuff.
Not true, except for like the fact that like we went to go pick up Papa's medicine a while back, and they had to see an ID for his his pain medicine, and I'm like, okay, so I pulled out my ID, and I was like, Mom, how did I get your driver's license? She's like, oh my gosh, how'd you get my driver's license? It's so weird. And then I pulled it out and went, oh no, it's mine.
And it did look, well, it was kind of dark.
It was dark, but I'm like, really?
I did look really young. I couldn't believe it. How young I look, or how old she looked. How old you looked, or how young I looked?
Let's not go there.
Okay.
Because I turned 40 this year, and it's not.
I turned 60, okay. So it doesn't
matter.
It's
not funny, mister.
Yeah. I think that we have some grandchildren that are in trouble. But anyway, Michael will be back next week, and I'm not sure what he has scheduled, but we look forward to seeing you all again. And I wish I knew what we were doing next week. I haven't been able to talk to him, and he's out on the boat. for the second time in a while. 3 times for Amber, twice for him. But I'm not jealous or
We're not
anything.
jealous or envious or
Nothing
anything.
like that. Yeah. But
Maybe
anyway,
a little bit.
But anyway, so look forward to seeing you all next time. Any questions? Something you want to see? We do have guests coming, but everything every time we get ready to
We've been
do
having
it,
technical difficulties.
technical
with internet
difficulties and just different things have happened on their side or on our side, both. So, but we're glad y'all joined us. Can't wait to see you next week. Y'all have a good day. Bye bye.